Hey there, my name is Dave Portner Ozalo, and welcome to your 10th HTML tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll create a form and see how forms work. Alright, and of course, let's create a contact us form in the contact page where people can fill a form and they send a message to us. Alright, so we are in the contact us page, and let's say, hey there, send us a message below. Hope you now know what this works. We will go to contact page, send us a message below. So we'll put the form here. A form is used to get input from your user. So to create a form, you just open a form tag. This is not compulsory. If you're using JavaScript, you don't need a form tag. You just keep building. But then I want to explain some things here. If you're using stuff like PHP to get contents of this form, when someone clicks on submit button or login or register, your form needs to know the page. If it's PHP, it needs to know the page to carry your form contents to. Which page in your site should the submit go to. So form contents will have an action. You can say page should go to process content.php or process anything. This is a page in your site where the contents of this form will be submitted to. Then there is method, form method. There is a post or a get. So I'll get to teach you this later on, but there is a get and there's a post. So here's the difference. When it's post and someone clicks on submit, your form content is submitted to processanything.php via a post request. In the background, the user doesn't get to see anything. But when it's get, the form contents are transported through the URL. That's when you start seeing long URLs. When you see question mark and name equals to Dave, question mark, you see and body equals to awesome and stuff like that. When it's get, the whole of everything you submit will pass through this. But then the disadvantage is that it may submit password as your password. Someone will be able to read something. Someone might be able to read the contents from here. So depending on what you want, it may not be the best approach, depending on what you're working on and the nature of what you're building. That's the difference between post and get. Get is usually via the URL, and post is somehow via the background, if I may put it that way. But then if we are using JavaScript, we may not need any of this. So we have a form, and then let me just leave it there. Get post. So we have a form, and we have we want people to be able to enter a password. So we can enter label, say password. Okay, yeah. Enter username. So the label is just a container for a text. So it's telling the user to enter a username, and then we create the box that will enter the username. It's called input, and it closes itself. So we'll put some attributes. For instance, the type should be text. It should be a text box. Look at it right here. If I refresh, the text box has appeared. But then our code needs to be able to identify this particular text box, so we can give it an identity. If it's JavaScript works with something like an ID. We can say username. That's the ID. When it's a selector, so that your code will be able to identify that, hey, the one I should use for username is what the person enters in this particular box. But then if it's PHP, you can choose to use name. Give your this thing a name, which is can still be username. So if we are submitting via PHP, it's this name that PHP will use to identify this text box. So the next thing we'll do is we'll ask the person for their email. So we'll duplicate this line since they are similar. So Say okay, email, and the next thing is email, and the next thing is email. So we refresh. As you can see, username, email. Then the same line that tells you that hey, we need a BR tag to separate them. So we have refresh BR tag. Then remember I told you most things you do should be in chunks. So you could do something cool. That's if you want to put them in divs each, depending on your approach to design. You see, this one is in a separate div, this one is a separate div. Another thing you can do is to put them in tables, in a table. So these guys will be in a separate column on the left, this guy will be in the separate column on the right. What it does is that it makes things will not be disorganized like this. See this one there is not in the same line with this. So if it's in a table is one trick to get things in the same line. Another way is using divs in CSS, and we've not learned CSS yet. So you can try this, putting it in a table. This will be one column, this will be on another column, and then everything will be straightforward. So the next thing I want you to check out is password. I'll duplicate to get a password. Enter password. If we have a password, we have something awesome. But then I'm saving. There's something you will observe. This is the password. If we enter a username, email, but then password is exposed, we want it to be styled, we want it to be hidden. One thing you can do is to Google how to create a password box, password field in HTML. Another thing is to see what I'm going to do right now. We'll convert this from text to password, and if we refresh and type, it's gone. We can't see it again, but these ones we can see them. So the type for password is password. The next thing we want to do is add a button. Inputs, type. The button the person will click to submit. We'll tell it that this is submit. This form submits this. But then save. If you go and refresh, you will observe something. As you can see, it's already submit. But then what if we wanted to change this text here? If we changed it to login, you will observe that it won't work. It won't work. The form is now confused. The parser is confused. It doesn't know the type it is. So whatever you do in the box, it should always be submit. Always. Then if you wanted to change what is written there, you can say value equals to login or login now, whatever. So you have login now. Another cool thing you want to check out is you can put a value on this one too. A value, let's say value to be okay. Let's do something. If we had a web address, enter URL, enter your website address. So we can say that this is URL and then this is URL. Then the next thing we want to do is to create a value equals to HTTP, something you want to be already in the box while the user is using it. So I've saved. You'll go and refresh. So as you can see, there's something already here that the person can start typing on. So that's value for this. And then the next thing, one more thing to note is that you can have another attribute called placeholder. Let me use placeholder on this one and say enter valid email. Placeholder is a little different from value. See the difference? if I clicked on this and refresh, what we have is this is value, but this is placeholder, enter valid email. If the person starts typing, the placeholder disappears. But then here, if the person starts typing, the value doesn't disappear. So depending on what you want, some people use placeholders as titles, so they will delete this and use this. So depending on what you want. In the next tutorial, we'll see other form elements we can use and how to use them. Remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my famous YouTube channel. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.